It's really hard to start the podcast today without addressing your shirt.
Hmm?
There's a lot of vibrancy for those who are just listening to the podcast.
For
There's
those just listening to the podcast,
there's layers of rainbow,
it's a piece. It's a hippie flower and peace
layers
sign.
of design, and I'm really challenged by the fact that you found some particular Amazon source for these shirts.
I know. Why don't you tell them what you said to me the other day?
I did suggest that maybe these were a low-cost item.
$3 a piece?
Well,
Well,
made in
I
China.
well, I tried to get you to find me them for $3 a piece, and you
Mhm.
didn't even take me up on that offer.
I didn't want to be an accomplice to
I'm
this
s-
attire, but our guest today is dressed in a manner that I think
Impeccable.
you could model if
Yes.
you wanted to, especially because you do occasionally teach the CCAR course on professionalism.
CCAR?
CCAR.
CCAR course.
The
That was
course.
a tongue twister.
Yes, but Charlie's got it going on today. The nice button-down shirt. Neat.
Charlie, say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Charlie.
It's great to be with you both today.
Yeah.
So, we do this Recovery Matters podcast, right? That's the name of it. And what matter about recovery would you like to talk about?
Daily reprieve.
Oh, yeah. Daily reprieve contingent upon what?
Maintenance and growth of my spiritual condition, not yours.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I am 55 years old, 55 years young, whatever it might be. My mind tells me different than my body mostly. And I have 4 sisters and 1 brother. Come from a very Irish Catholic alcoholic family, and very close, loving family, great parents, all that. No excuses for the life I had. And at 9 years old, though, in 1976, the year of the bicentennial, my parents had a party downstairs in the house, and the kids were stuffed upstairs. And I went down to pour 2 orange sodas, but something just interested me to take this gin bottle and pour a little of that in my cup. And then I brought them upstairs and I gave it to my friend and I said, by the way, smell mine. And they went, ew. I said,
yeah.
I know it does smell gross. And it was absolutely disgusting. But I've never had anything so disgusting that was so perfect. Because it was, oh, and then, oh, that sense of ease and comfort. Something shifted. At age 9, that same year, we headed up, all 8 of us, to Mass Pioneer in Boston. Because something was going on with some of the kids a little bit, maybe a little learning disability or difficulty in the classroom. We don't know what's going on, but I was struggling, my older brother and older sister. So as we went to this hospital, they checked our eyes. And by the end of the first weekend, we went for almost 2 years every quarter as a family. We found out in that first visit that 4 out of 6 children had a very rare eye condition called juvenile macular degeneration, otherwise today known as Stargardt's disease. Really, it's a form of macular degeneration you get as a child. And so, at the end of that, we were, after almost 2 years of going there once a quarter and having 2 or 3 days of grueling testing, they sat us down in a nice conference room and they said, thank you for your coming. I was waiting for the secret little pill to take to fix it, or maybe I would wear a pair of glasses, but just give me the solution to the problem. And they said, there's nothing we can do. We're done. No more testing. Here's a piece of paper. That piece of paper held the things that we weren't going to be able to do in life. So we weren't going to be able to do sports or go skiing and be very careful, and colors are going to disappear. And then one of them said, and no driver's license. And I remember thinking, what? Me not get it, So that was the beginning of my mind starting to beat on myself and start telling me I'm less than, I'm not good enough. And I don't know I have a disease called alcoholism. I just know that I'm not good enough. I know that everyone else is lucky and I'm not. And I don't understand why this is happening to me.
Did you know prior that you were having problems with your eyesight, or was it just always part of who you were growing up?
I no, because well, it was age 9 that I
Yeah.
learned, and by age 13, I received a certificate of blindness from the state of Connecticut. So
Wow.
just picture this: I'm 13 years old. I come riding home on my BMX bike from school, which I'm not really fond of, and and I get in. My mom says there's some mail on the table. I was for probably the first piece of mail I've ever gotten. It was a big envelope, and in that envelope, I ripped it open, and a certificate, and it was in big print. It said, "Charles J. Collins, you have been declared legally blind by the state of Connecticut."
And you just rode home on your bike.
Well, yeah, I mean that was the beginning of what has come, but anyway, what I was, I got a free fishing license too.
Oh.
And I thought, well, who's going to put the little worm on the hook? I get a free I want a motorcycle's license. I don't want a fishing license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was devastating
Wow.
because not only was I a loser in my mind, now the state just declared me one too. So now they all know.
Wow.
And, my drinking, Boone's Farm wine, to weed smoking, to getting out of myself became a weekend practice at that age, at 12, 13, 14, 15. I have a progressive illness. I don't know that. I think that God, my parents, doctors, and teachers are all stupid because they are so hard on me. And why would you create me this way? I mean, how do you live life blind? Well, we'll get to that, but
Yeah.
so basically I turned to substances and things that could take me out of thinking about how my life sucks so bad. And it worked damn well for years. But, as a progressive illness, I consumed more. In high school, probably by sophomore year, blackouts started happening. I knew I had a problem at a young age, not because my parents talked about what alcoholism was. No. In that family, you under the carpet. We don't talk about my grandfather jumped out of a 10-story window because he couldn't deal with the pain of lung cancer. He was an alcoholic. My mother drank herself to death. I mean, my mom's 2 brothers drank and drove and died in their 20s. I mean, this was everywhere, but I can do that. We're on video too.
Yeah.
But I'm so used to working with people with vision impairments. I just pulled my finger up to my mouth and did the shush symbol. But I don't need to do that with you guys or your listeners. So basically, I'm not being told. I'm not like that would have mattered. I would have said, that sucks for them, but I need this.
Yeah.
I can't survive without alcohol and some weed smoking and things like that. But I started getting in trouble. I was an angry kid. This is not fair. Why me? Self-pity, depression, this dishonest mind, really, self-seeking, really, and the fear that was deep-rooted in me that I came from on a daily basis, though I don't think so. I don't know that I'm afraid to step into this day.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of what's going to confront me. I'm afraid of what you think of me. I'm afraid I'm not going to do well. I would never raise my hand in class and ask a question. In gym class, I would get picked last. Who wants the blind kid on their team? He sucks. And especially in dodgeball. So, this is what the world I thought
Oh my God.
I was up against. And alcohol and drugs started to really were the solution.
Yeah.
And they worked. And I had a blast. But when you tell me I can't get a driver's license, I'll show you how I can drive. The problem was I'm legally blind, under influence, and driving. Not proud of that.
Right.
But I did it
Yeah.
a lot. I totaled a couple of cars. I got in trouble with the police. But I was a really good salesman. I'd say, well, if you had to wake up every day blind and, have this life of terribleness set out in front of you, you would make mistakes too. And the cops were always good. They always I never really got in too much trouble. So since I set up a town of enablers, I got to keep going.
What was your parents' response through all this?
My parents were, they had 4 children that were legally blind. I was the black sheep of the family. They saw something in me I did not see in myself, which was potential. They tried to help me in every way. My mother was queen enabler, took care of everything, kept things hush. I mean, as I got into my early 20s, still at home, I would wet the bed. She would quickly fix everything like it never happened, wouldn't talk about it. It never happened. Every so often, my mom would say, it doesn't have to go on like this, as she's driving me to work. And I'm like feeling like, an 18-wheeler ran me over.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, I'm never doing this again. Yeah, you are.
So how did your siblings cope
that was-
with the blindness?
I got, there's like five out of 6 are alkies.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's how. Now, real alcoholics, as opposed to drinking as a solution to my suffering that I don't know how to deal with,
Yeah.
whatever. I just know I was born, I have a disease of alcoholism. I know because something was different with me. And not because I have worked with and met so many over the years that are perfectly sighted and felt like me. I'm not alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Blindness is just another excuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's for me to be able to say, well, you would do it if I did. You would do this too if you had been cursed with the life I was given.
You refer to yourself, though, as the black sheep. So how'd you earn that title?
I was the guy trashing cars, getting
Oh.
arrested. I was the guy riding motocross bikes and wheeling down the street and having keg parties and bands and, following the Grateful Dead. And
Nice.
well, actually, my brother and sister followed the Grateful Dead too.
Nice.
So that was, what I love about the recovery. I love this Recovery Matters and CCAR. It's like I walked into your office today here, first time. I don't know you people, but I do.
Yeah.
I just hadn't met you yet.
Right.
And that's the same as my dead community. Oh, okay, let's call them Grateful Dead because they're alive, a lot of them. When I can go any concert anywhere in the country, and as soon as I step into that environment, I'm loved. I'm not judged for being a blind guy or 5'7" or white or unshaven. None of it matters.
Yeah.
We have a common bond.
I was
And,
just having
and I
that.
felt that here.
Just talking about that this week because it's hard to articulate to people who aren't a part of the recovery community that we can just strip it all away in a second. Oh, you got it. Like just start talking, be vulnerable and sharing.
Yeah.
And so do you follow the Dead now? Because I know
Oh,
they have
yes.
you find the yellow balloons is how I'm told. you
I
can
do
find
go
your sober
to
folks.
the Wharf Rats.
Yeah.
And please come to me. Ah, someone stole it. I don't get to share. Yes. I had no idea that other people didn't drink and drug the way I did.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you do. I mean, I went to 93 Dead concerts before Jerry Garcia died, and I tripped and drank and drugged at every one of them.
93.
Thank God they're recorded.
93.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I got sober and I picked up the guitar. And guess who my mentor is? Jerry Garcia.
Yeah.
I want to learn and I want to learn to play like that. And
Kind of feel like Jerry would approve of the shirt. So
Oh,
now,
he would
now
love it.
I'm thinking that's too conservative for you, Charlie.
Yeah.
But
I know.
it's all right.
So I go through high school. I look at the problem is not me. It's outside of me. It can't be me. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask to have a problem with alcohol. At 18, I remember looking up and going, God, of my misunderstanding and no faith, belief, or trust or reliance on, screw you. But anyway, you better not have made me a drunk or an alcoholic because I need this.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what it's like to go through the day with the tension I do, with caring so deeply what you think of me? It's almost killing me. And I remember saying that, but there was something. My buddy and I would buy a case of beer, right? And we'd go out. And as I'm pulling out, every time we had one, I would take one out and then hide it a little bit. And then, he would say, what number are we on? I said, well, there's 3, 4 left. Oh, yeah, I didn't know we were already on that many. We're not. I've already stashed 2 that you don't know about. I mean, so I was starting to be a little sneaky. Why? And I remember thinking, why do I have to do that? Why can't I shut this off? Why can't I stop? Why do I always go over a line and become mean or go into this place where I need to ask somebody, what did I do last night? Am I horrified? I don't want to be that guy. I just don't want to feel the way I feel when I'm not drunk.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel this tension and pressure and self-loathing. I don't know how to escape it.
What did you do after high school?
Well, I was the fifth or sixth, and all of the four ahead of me all went to college, even the blind ones. I used to say to my brother, stop doing so goddamn well. You're making me look bad. My brother worked so hard and wanted to be studious, and I wanted to party and play and be daring. That was my path.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to college, and I failed out. And then I went again. I failed out. I partied out. And, and then I went again for like 2 weeks. And I finally came home under the influence one night crying. I said to my parents, I don't want to go to college. It's not. They said, okay. I said, oh, really? But I never failed out of college. I feared out of college.
Yeah.
They definitely
Wow.
had nothing to do with my intellect and what's possible. I don't know. We were talking earlier about atrophy.
Yeah.
And if a brain at rest will fall into atrophy, so will triceps
Yeah.
and biceps. And my brain from high school until I was 23 did not read. Only thing it did was party. And it went to work, but it looked at itself all day, and it looked at I looked at the problem all day long. I didn't know it was me. I looked at this world that I wake up in the morning, how is this day gonna screw me?
And it usually did, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we wish for we get.
All right. Manage our expectations. I love that you said you feared out of
Yeah.
college because I haven't heard that phrase. And I go, yep, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
But I managed to get a diploma out of the deal, but I basically feared out of college too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. I went 3 years, feared out, and spent 25 years finishing that last year.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here kind of emotional when you said that because, I'm working with more students than we've ever seen before. And so much of it is that. So much of that is, even in recovery, navigating the fear of that environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta get them the feeling wheel so they can identify the fear. I didn't know I was afraid, until I got into recovery and looked back many years. I didn't understand that I was afraid all those years. That how much fear ruled my life until I found faith.
So you're not in school. What do you do?
So I just where the book nailed me was the big book. It says it robbed us of so many things in life. Fear. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence. It was shot through, and I'm like, oh, and it's so nice. Knowledge, knowing, learning. I don't know that I have an allergic reaction to alcohol and drugs. Okay. I don't know that, even though I have every intention of being good and coming home and hitting a curfew at my parents, and even when I get married and all, I have every intention of being the right partier, like the other people that can do it. But I can't seem to, I didn't know that once I started drinking, the drinking drug took me. And it took me wherever it was going to go that day. But then I'd stop, and I really want to be good. I want to be a better person. And I don't understand this mental blank spot. I used to black out sober, as in I could not bring with sufficient force the humiliation, the suffering, that what I did I couldn't bring it into my consciousness to say, I wouldn't dare in a million years pick up another drink. I mean, you'd be crazy to drink and drug if you had been through what I had been through. Gosh. And I don't know this, so I can't manage my alcoholism.
I've never thought of it that way, and that is like, why don't I bring a notepad to these podcasts?
Well, you can listen to them, again.
And you can do it at 2x speed to cut Phil out.
Yeah.
Which is
You do
probably
know us a little bit.
sage advice.
Wow,
advice.
that's just, yes. Yep.
So let me tell you a quick story about coming home from a Grateful Dead concert. This is what alcoholism and how it can beat me down, but I still can't see that, and has nothing to do with eyesight. It has everything to do with the problem. That, thank God, I finally realized that the problem is within me. you know. So I come home from Madison Square Garden after who knows what dead show in 1988. And, you know, it seemed like the right thing to do on the train is to climb up top and drink a tall boy and smoke a Marlboro.
Get out.
Oh, hell yeah. It was a fun thing to do. But I happened to fall into the electricity while I was up there.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. This is a fasciotomy. These are scars, and I have them all through my body. So I grabbed down to 12,500 volts.
No, you didn't.
I did. It was a heck of a concert, and I stopped the entire train system. That was full of deadheads going,
Man, that-
what happened?
Man, that's shocking.
and it was. No, it's all good because I
Hit
went.
me. That's the first time. See, that's the first time she ever hit me during the podcast.
I've been in motorcycle accidents and snowmobile accidents and I've been in car accidents and now I've been in a train accident. There is a power greater than me who not only wants to restore me to sanity because he has a reason and a purpose for me to live. It's not the one and the suffering life I was living, but he kept me alive for a reason. And I don't, you know, when I got out of the Bridgeport burn unit, and first of all, it blew the minds of everyone in there. I'm alive. Okay. No, I was like, oh, no, that's just how I roll. I don't know if I'll ever die. I wish I would, though. And the day I got out, I went to the bar to celebrate. You know, I mean, in the hospital, I would.
How long were you in the burn unit for?
Couple months.
Do you even remember like grabbing the
No.
or any of that?
No, I remember
Just-
sitting on underneath the train, though, going, oh, screaming in my arm.
that hurts.
Yeah, they were going to amputate my arm, so I tried to kill myself in the hospital because you're going to take away my eyesight. Now you're going to take one of my arms. I'm the dumbest guy on the planet. I do nothing. I mean, I just added up everything wrong with me. Now you're going to take an arm. So I reached over because they had all sorts of, and I yanked it out of the wall and all alarms went off. And I said, find me a, when I came to in the hospital, I had only thing exposed were my two bad eyes. And I was a mummy in gauze because I had open sores. And I was, you know, vibrant.
Yeah.
I could have ran the electricity grid at the hospital for a couple of days, I think. And when I came to in the hospital, I opened my eyes. There was a priest next to me, and I went, "Oh no, am I dead?" I was hoping it would be Farrah Fawcett. And I said,
You're
"Mom."
crying, I'm laughing. So I mean, that's a
Now I'm
different.
laughing, but
So I said, I called out to my mother, and
Yeah.
she came running in.
Oh,
God bless my parents. They're 84 apiece. They're still alive. How the tables have turned.
Yeah.
Now I am of service and giving back
understand that.
so much to my parents and without reservation.
right.
But anyway, I got through that.
How
But
old were you when that happened?
I was 21.
21.
Guess what I did the next year? I went back to Madison Square Garden, but this time I just missed the train.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite find Grand Central Station after the concert. They must have moved it. So, you know, this complexity of a life I was living, this denial that I had the problem. The problem obviously was God and outside of me and now so I go through a, you know, I start, as I was talking earlier, I don't, you know, knowing I have a problem with alcohol doesn't stop me. I don't know about this insane idea and the insane mind, but I don't know until I finally do.
yeah.
I go into the motorcycle business, Phil. I owned a motorcycle dealership as a legally blind guy. I started cutting the lawn there. And the owner came out one day and he said, "Hey, do you want to work here?" And I'm like, I was riding a motocross bike too. I always tell people, hey, trees can't sue you. I was riding as a legally blind guy. See, I'm not a risk taker. I like adventure. I like being outside. I like climbing things. I like doing things. I like water skiing, snowmobiling. I like doing things in life.
So I'll get back to this story, but I am fascinated, intensely curious. So you say right now you can see peripherally?
Yes.
You can't see directly in front of you.
No, if I look at you, you're a black dot.
So-
Like, very dark hole.
So how do you ride a bike? How do you steer? How do you navigate? What is it?
I trust
what's,
and rely.
no, but what's the course look like? Do you turn your eyes so you can kind of
Yes,
see?
So,
Turn your
so
head?
really, if I was gonna like, I'm pretending I'm looking at you.
Yes.
You think I maybe I
Like you
look
can
like?
only see out here.
Yeah, but this now I can see.
You're
that.
kind of like a bird,
But this is
like a
kind of
seagull.
spooky to look
Like
at.
a seagull wants to look at you. He go. because his eye's over here and look at you. What? You've never seen birds do that? They do that all the time.
All right.
And now we know what he looks at when he's out in the woods.
Yeah, the birds.
Yeah.
So you would be like actually driving your motorcycle at speed, kind of turning your head so you could kind
Yeah.
of navigate where the
Yeah.
trail went. Wow, it's amazing. And you probably got, I know you say you crashed a lot, but you must have been pretty good at it.
Oh, I
too.
was better than most of the sighted people around me,
Yeah,
which really pissed them off.
good for you.
Because I'd be hitting their back end and then ripping by them and then dumping a roost on them for just pissing me off. But you know, I mean, but a lot of that, Phil.
I don't know what any of that meant, but it's okay. We can
I
keep
do.
going.
I'm sorry if
No, it's okay.
I'll explain more someday. But,
Okay.
but basically, it's just
I got
A
you.
rooster tail, you know, the dirt in the back.
yeah,
Oh,
shoots out,
all
and
right.
Shot all
hits
the
them
dirt
in their face.
Oh, you're smarter than you look.
But that was driven. The reason I took my BMX bike and went off the jump, the reason I climbed a tree and hung, there was fear. I wanted you to like me. Why did I go on top of a train? So you would say, "You're sick, dude."
You
and,
are.
and really, I know, but
Yeah.
back then it was sick meant you're crazy, you're cool,
Right.
love having you around.
Yeah.
So if I can't be smart, I can't be anyone but a guy that's crazy, and I get accepted. And now that's what I think was going to work. I'll do it,
Right.
even though I was afraid. I was petrified, but I couldn't let you know.
So the dealership, that's where I kind of bring us back to that part where they asked you to work there. And
I said no. I said I'll have to let you know. I went home. And I said to my mom, I rode my scooter home, and I went home to my mom. I had a Honda
I
C70,
rode my
and
It's random facts. It's like you're just riding on the road. Cow. Just,
well, I just like to be honest.
I gotcha.
And I went home and I told my mom. She's like, "You'd be great at that." And I'm like, "What? I know you're my mom, and you want me to do well, and you believe in me, but you're lying."
Yeah.
And I went to bed that night, in a bed I lied in for many years, crying myself to sleep. The bed I didn't even know I was in many nights because of blacking out and drinking. And the bed that I just used to sit there and paralyzed the amount of fear and self-pity. And
Yeah.
I went to sleep that night and I slept and I thought, I there's no way in heck I can take this job. Next day I went up back to the dealership and there was some power that was pushing me because I got off on the scooter and I walked in and I turned around and walked in. I can't do this. But I got some help for my eye disease. See, I went in, I said, "Jimbo, I can take the job, but I got to tell you something. I'm legally blind." I didn't say I'm a drunk. I didn't say I have a problem with alcohol and drugs. I mean, well, let's not worry about that. I got that managed just today.
Yeah.
And I told him I'm legally blind, and I wanted to say, "What are you thinking? Why would you ever hire me?" And he's like, "It's okay. I knew you had some sort of eye problem going. I could tell by the way you acted, and but that doesn't matter. I believe in you.
Wow.
And you're going to make an impact on this
Four
business."
powerful words.
I believe in you. I
Yeah.
thought, if that man, I probably would have been dead in a year of that time in my life. I was really running hard at that time.
Yeah.
He believed in me. And I asked for help for my eye disease.
Mhm.
And I got some adaptive technology. And my brain was very atrophied, but I started reading, writing, and I went from selling motorcycles to VP and part owner of the company in 3 years.
What is adaptive technology?
It's a screen that I put my book under, my mail, and it blows it up in large print. Or I could take a device and tap my screen, and then it takes a picture and reads every word on the page to me.
Oh, wow.
I could actually put on a pair of glasses, and then it would say Phil sitting across. No, it would just say your name, Phil, unless I added more to it.
All right.
And then it would say Sandy and Melvin's
Probably
in
wanna
there.
add more.
So it kind of brings the world into me that I'm unable to see. It's adapting me to be able to live more
Yeah,
freely from the
that's
bondage itself.
Cool.
And so I do that for a while. But you know what comes when I had arrived? When there's no cloud on the horizon, things are great. I hadn't partied in a while because I was so focused on my new drug, becoming someone.
Yeah.
Now you're really going to think I'm special because I'm better than you.
Yeah.
This ego came in and took over again. And this time I wasn't the worst person on the planet. I'm the VP making a lot of money, buying a house, getting married. So I started drinking and snorting cocaine at work. I mean, doesn't seem, that's the motorcycle industry. They shouldn't mind. But I have a progressive illness, and from snorting it from Thursday I'm starting to snort it Monday afternoon, and then Wednesday, and then it got worse and worse and worse, and I lost the business. I ended up in rehab for the first time. And I'm like, how the heck did I ever get here? I have this skinny, weird guy sitting next to me. Ugh. And, blind guy. And then I'm not used to this. I'm around my club, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. Don't they know who I am? I'm a VP of a corporation. I don't belong here. This is disgusting. And it hit me. All of a sudden, we're pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
They drink and drug too much.
Yeah.
They can't control it. They made a mess of their lives. I just got kicked out of my motorcycle dealership and sent to rehab, and I lost it. The board voted me out.
Mm-hmm.
Me? I mean, that hurt my feelings. But then God had a plan for me. I started an adaptive technology company, and I ran that until I had arrived.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I arrived. I had a 33-foot boat. I was the captain of that boat. That's the only license I can get.
Mm-hmm.
Boating license. Legally.
Interesting.
Of course.
And I have it. And my personal watercraft license I have. But anyway, I'm making money. I have the house. I got the toys. I got the wife. I got the kids. I got the central vacuum sprinkler system, the tractor, the toys.
Yeah.
Everything that made me
The central
whole.
vac. Hey, we got one of those, but we don't use it.
Well.
It sucks.
Oh, I didn't even intentionally set you up for that.
Thank
one.
you for that. So anyway, I had arrived.
Again.
And I'm sitting on the bridge of my boat, not a cloud on the horizon.
Are you a fisherman or just
No,
a
I put a
cruiser
pole
boat?
in that slot just so
To
I look good.
cool. Yeah, so you gotta look cool.
I was more interested in my twin 454 7.4 liter V8s. I was a master at the boat.
How fast did that go?
It didn't. It was a cruiser. It was had a 12-foot beam, and
You never opened it up?
oh heck yeah,
And how fast did it go?
28 knots maybe.
Wow.
I used to cruise at about 21, but I used to just start it at the dock, just because I loved the sound of that baby. But it was all adapted with high-end stereo and
Yes.
which cranked the Grateful Dead and jam band type. I was loved down at the marina, and I was sober. I came out of rehab in 1996.
What
and
marina? What town?
Bruce and Johnson in Brantford.
Oh, nice.
And we grew up on the shore over at Hatcher's Grove, my
Yeah,
parents. We had
yeah.
houses and all that. So I was very familiar with the area. And boating was a big part of my life, and fishing.
Yeah.
But I usually only caught a buzz when I went fishing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was sitting on the bridge of my boat, and the line smacking the mast, it's just so nice in a marina. The sound that's beautiful.
Sleep
the
to
sun
that.
is set. Oh yes. And I'm sitting up there going, my boat sucks. I need a bigger one. And it was perfect. It was waxed. It was clean. It was every inch of it was beautiful because I had a bit of another obsession. Since I'm not obsessing over alcohol and drugs, I got to do that somewhere. And I started walking down the other dock with the bigger boats and thinking, one of the guys was in the dough. He owned 5 Dunkin' Donuts. Like, I would be happy if I owned 5. I only own one business. I need more. I need more. I need to make more. How can I make more money in my company? Well, I ended up having a Mike's Lemonade that night at the dock. I remember my buddies, they're like, well, you don't drink. I said, this isn't really alcohol. Let me have one. And I drank one, and I went back to my boat. No phenomenon of craving. No allergic reaction. I can't believe it. I'm not an alcoholic anymore. I love this. So next weekend, I of course didn't share in AA, or I didn't tell my peeps or my wife that, I had a Mike's Lemonade. No, we'll keep that quiet. And then I had again the weekend after. But this time I had 2 Mike's Lemonades. And then I found myself at the bar at the marina, slamming vodka and Diet Cokes. And then I came to, I was in a strip joint in New Haven. I don't know how I got there. And I was looking for drugs. What else? I mean, I'm so wasted. If a little cocaine will help sober me up. Then I ended up back at the boat, vomiting in it. And next morning, my wife was coming down with a friend and their 3 children, my 2 young 2 and 4-year-olds, and it sucked because what happened? What's wrong with you? I ate some bad calamari. I've been sick all night to my stomach. She had no idea. But the nature of my illness, the fact that it had me, that within a month from that point, I found crack cocaine. And everything I had built, I pulled the structure right back down. I have a couple $1 million company. I smoked my boat away, my ATVs. I smoked my beautiful new barn I was going to build. I stole from the savings account. I stole from my company. My last year, I was in 7 rehabs and hotels, and I drew salary. Whoops. Because I had built a life that would pay me to die almost, you know. Financially, I was perfectly okay until my wife threatened to divorce me. I was like, you're nothing without me. She's like, you live in hotels, smoke crack, and don't come around. Yeah, but I'm not harming anyone. I mean, talk about how blind I truly was, right?
Wow.
Oh, God. So thank the good Lord that true surrender came. You know, I know AA, I know rooms, I know meetings, I know people, and my knowingness was killing me. It was keeping me away too. I know what you're going to think of me. I know you. You know, but I found people that didn't judge me for being a relapsing alcoholic drug addict. They loved me. They believed in me. You know, they saw me for a sick man. They met me where I was, like you guys do. I love that about your program. We go out and meet people where they are. We don't talk down to them. We're not better than you. I've been where you are. And we can lovingly and believe in you and help bring you back. Well, you got to do the work. And
How old are you at this point?
40. That's when I started playing the guitar, too. I always wanted to play guitar all my life, but I couldn't pick it up and be Jerry Garcia or Stevie Ray Vaughan. What's the sense?
Yeah.
They were gifted. They were lucky. See, I had this belief that, you know, Melvin went to sleep and woke up and he was the master of cameras and audio. He didn't do anything. He just had it given to him.
I think that's true, actually,
Better not be, because I thought I liked that dude. But you know what I mean? I always thought, Sandy, that everybody had gifts, and I do. I have gifts.
You do.
But more had to be revealed. I had to move away the blockage, the garbage, the resentment, the fear, the dishonesties. The sick man that was running the show had to get the hell out of the way and allow this power that I was born with to help guide me. And and that's what happened. I surrendered. I hit my knees. I fell to the ground, cried on all fours. I flipped the couch in my house. I punched a mirror and shattered it. I threw stuff. And then I felt something. I felt the loving hand of God. I don't know what it was, but I felt I had just enough to take the next step. I was living I started out in the hotels, the Marriott with the jacuzzi, the top shelf. Then I'm in the Super 8. And I'm paying cash. I can't even pay. I'm shaking. I'm alone. I'm paranoid. Everyone's out to get me. Now I'm running into the hotel room. I'm running to the bathroom. I'm putting a chair under the door, checking the things, going into the bathroom, putting a blanket, locking the bathroom door, shutting the light off, sitting next to the toilet bowl, holding my hand on the lock and trying to get high for days. This is where my addiction brought me. And I'm still... After as the hospitals and Yale psych ward, I still tried to come out and do it because I still thought I had the power. I didn't realize I lost the power of choice. I cannot choose to stay sober today. I did not wake up. I do not keep me sober because I'm not good at that. There's got to be, now I know there is a power that I was born with. I don't have to go find it. I don't have to go to a church or a Buddhist thing. And nothing wrong with all the ways people find that power and come from that and live from that. I mean, talk about having great vision. You know, my eyesight sucks, but my vision is clear. I see the path more clearly. I'm building companies. I'm doing amazing things in service of others, not me anymore.
Yeah, you're leaving me speechless. So, just because I feel you have an incredible way to communicate just the energy and feeling like I'm still in the bathroom in the black room and the way you described that. So you did come out of that. What was the turning point? What happened?
I won in 2004, to height of my addiction. I won an award, Connecticut Employer of the Year award,
Did
and
you?
I received my thing up at the state, and I was high. Before I went up to receive it, I quickly ran to the bathroom to get ready.
Yeah.
And that's before the drug of my non-choice, the choice that I always used to say, "What's the drug of your choice?" Well, I didn't have a choice. You know what I mean? I don't. It chose. I'm just
Drug of
powerless.
choice.
I'm
That's
powerless over that stuff. It's
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, so anyway, I received that award. Then I won it again in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
But now I won the National Employer of the Year award
Mm-hmm.
for making a massive impact helping people with disabilities. My company helped blind people regain their lives and independence and adaptive technology. I sold it in 2016, became an international speaker and a best-selling author. And I didn't do any of that, to be honest. I had an inner prompting from the power that I uncovered through the 12-step work. That once I removed this baggage, this blockage that I was suffering and dying from, it just gave enough light to. So, Phil, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I knew I had AA under me. The seed had been planted. So it was battling with the lie I was trying to live. It's like, there is help. I would be in a hotel room saying, I got to stop this. I know there's help out there, but after this time, just one more, just this.
I'll quit tomorrow.
I know. But I fell in a hotel room onto a glass table and
You're a walking disaster.
I know. It took a lot. Most of us have to be pretty mangled up. I'm one of the mangled ones.
Yes, you are.
And I came to, and I had in my left hand a Bic lighter and right hand a stem.
Wow.
And I thought, thank God I didn't lose these. I mean, seriously,
Wow.
I'm okay.
Yeah?
This was God.
Yeah, I
That
still
was
have
God.
them. Yeah,
And that scares me to this day because
Right.
that God is still there.
yeah.
I have not. If I stop, we started out a daily reprieve.
Mm-hmm.
That God is still there. That white bathrobe, Hugh Hefner power in that hotel room with the big pile of drugs and yes, that solves the problem that I'm less than. I'm not good enough. I have arrived. And I got to watch for that stuff. I need a daily reprieve. And it is very contingent on the maintenance of my spiritual condition. And it's also very dependent on my level of service to help, to seek, and to work with other alcoholics and drug addicts so they can recover from that hopeless condition of mind and body that kills us, for sure. Watched it over the years kill many. I have a 54-year-old friend who in first grade, best of buddies, found him 3 weeks ago dead in his car in Florida. Drank and drugged himself to death. What a miserable. I know how miserable, how disgusting. I was down to 146 pounds. The rib cage was sticking out of my back. How disgusting. My cheeks were sucked in, my eye sockets. I looked disgusting. And I know how badly I wanted to die. I would try to smoke myself to death, and all I would do is stay awake. and so I get it. I get where this thing is going to take you into the ground.
I tried to smoke myself to death, but all I did was stay awake. Oh my gosh. I never ended up smoking. I guess I was still, last time I used cocaine was in 87, and I was still of the snorting variety. Pablo Escobar's prime stuff, probably. So I relate to so much what you're saying. What is life like today for you? Talk about your circumstances, your environment, and how
Family.
you,
I always wonder about family.
and how you're doing internally.
I'm married now for 29 years, coming up on 30 in July. My
Same
wife,
woman.
again,
Yeah.
same woman. Yeah,
Oh.
well, I'd be 100 if I.
Yeah, right.
So my wife stuck with me. She saw something. She was in Al-Anon. I hated that program.
Mhm.
But then I loved it. Oh, she stopped giving me a hard time.
Yeah.
She stopped enabling me. I
Mhm.
love this program. And
Yeah.
then it got harder. So that helped. My wife shut the door on me. She said, get the hell out of here. You're not welcome in this house. That's my house. I pay the mortgage. And she stuck her middle finger up at me. You're a nice lady. So so I'm coming up on 29 years. I have a 22 and 30 years, excuse me, in
Yeah.
July. I have a 22 and 24-year-old daughter who love 12 steps, who love programs and seminars and events and alkathons. They do it all. They understand what responsibility is, making a decision, making amends when you have harmed or done something to your father. No.
To your father.
Yeah. I understand today that it is still all about me if I don't practice this in my life. I can wake up and default back to me and how I could do the finger like you know. It's amazing. When I change the way I look at things, the things I look at change. And I thought somebody sent a memo, my sponsor sent a memo out to everybody that irritated me because all of a sudden they stopped irritating me automatically. How's that possible?
Right.
I did the work on me. I saw the world differently. We see the world as we are, not as it is. And this program, they say big book brain. Well, who cares? I don't
Right.
really care. I don't care what, but I needed it. Every bit of what I had to do to get me to be able to be a loving husband, a father that practices principles in the home, in my affairs. The book told me, hey, you're really good in these AA meetings, but you got to do this at home and at work.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
No problem. And I said, how am I I need to be so freed from this bondage of self. I better write a book. Everyone in my company knew I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. This is who I am. This is what you got. This company recruited me and wanted me after I sold my company to head up their North America division and all that. I said, well, you might want to read this book. Before, because you're not just getting some normal dude. You're getting a guy that will make massive impact for you out in the industry, but who has to get up in the morning and sit in meditation and thank God for the day before and look at my 24 hours ahead and notice where I'm going to be, how I can be of service, what can I do to best serve them. How can I make it a win-win situation? I was a go-getter. Now I'm a go-giver.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make money and I wanted to do this because that would solve the problem. That does not. The level of service, just like CCAR, I saw that in your website and in your podcast. I said, that's why I said, I can't wait to do this. These are my types of people. You want to get better. Nothing will ensure immunity from alcohol and drug use as intensive work with other alcoholics and drug addicts. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go work with blind people that
Yeah.
have a belief system that's killing them or people with dyslexia. It's okay. But it's somebody you can help guide to that peace of mind, to be relieved of the bondage of self. So I built some companies now. I have Charlie Collins International, shocking. But how couldn't I? But the initials are CCI, get it?
Mhm.
And then I also have the Thriving Blind Academy, which does a lot of what you guys do here.
Mhm.
We have transition programs. We have family programs. We have how to get reemployed. It's a 70% unemployment rate for blind people. My other company helps bring blind spots into focus for people that are suffering, not seeing the truth. So I was going to say I'm not that smart, and that has nothing to do with it. I'm open. I'm willing for this power to send me inner promptings and the guidance system so I can make the impact that I'm still have the ability to while I'm here.
And your book is called Tripping into the Light by Charlie Collins.
Yes.
When did you write that?
2014-15.
And it's made the bestseller?
I'm also I'm a contributing author in a couple of Jack Canfield's books. He's the Chicken Soup for the Soul
Yeah.
guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a Success Principle book. It's a 10-year anniversary best-selling. I have a story in that book. So that makes me a best-selling author.
Gotcha. Well
I'm
done.
also in another book of his, the Living the Success Principles. So I speak all over, and I've spoken for larger groups. And I have many times I'll have people come up to me and say, "Are you a friend of Bill's?" I was like, Bill, who?
You're such a
To
pain.
freak them out. And then I'm like,
You're such
yeah.
a pain in the ass.
I said,
really.
yes, I am. Could you tell? Yes, I could tell. I'm like, yeah. Because any way we can attract and bring in anyone
Yeah.
suffering, and where I can be of service, and how I can lend a hand or offer a resource or move them into a group like this or whatever I can do, that's what I got to do.
So you have this, you've kind of skipped around this, and we're getting near the end of our time here, but you're obviously a leader. I mean, to be an employer, and I don't think I carried the outlandishness to your extent, like, ride on tops of trains. I did my things and didn't crash as many times as you did, but, I do like adventure and all that. But you are a leader, and I can tell that you're a kind of a servant leader. I would say that. You're humble about it because you just touched on the edges, right? But what are some of why would you say that, what makes you a good leader? I was searching for the right question.
I was a follower. I was a selfish, self-centered, full of fear, blamer, complainer, rationalizer, justifier, never taken responsibility, didn't think I had the brains, the ability, or anything. And I transcended, I transformed. And I don't mean I mean a process, a loving hand of AA.
Gotcha.
And people helped show me that here's the problem, this is the work you do, and here's the solution. And then I became the CEO of and I owned a company, and I still was like very timid about it. But I realized that I go out and teach others how to become the CEO of your own life.
Create another leader.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what leaders do. I mean,
Exactly.
I don't talk down. I'm not better, smarter, I'm here to show you deep within you, you have the power to run a beautiful life
Beautiful.
and be a better husband, a wife, and a father. And then you show these principles to the next one. That's how we're going to make it a healthier planet that we live on, too. You have the power deep within you. Now, I got to be careful about saying God or whatever, but there's workaround.
You're a natural, recovery coach. You're a natural coach.
Yes, C-suite.
And that is why our philosophies align so much, because I think your companies and this agency, we think very similarly, that the number one goal of a leader is to create other leaders.
Yes.
And we want to provide opportunities for people to do that. You mentioned Melvin earlier. Melvin's creating videos on his own that are just phenomenal. And he's leading that field, just that's in him. We see it in him. And do you believe that about yourself, Melvin?
No, I do.
Nice. And the other part, Charlie, that you talk about is that guy that said, I believe in you. When people onboard here at CCAR, they have a meeting with me as part of the onboarding process. And the last thing I tell them is that because you've went through the interview process, are hired now, I trust my team implicitly. I want you to hear it from me and look eye to eye, and I'll say it to them soul to soul, is I believe in you. And that makes all the difference in the world many times, because that didn't happen too often for me growing up. I think my parents did. They just didn't say it in the way maybe I heard it or whatever, because they had to. They were my parents. But I think you do that for people. And I love your enthusiasm for life, and I'm so appreciative you took the time to come share with us.
Thank you, Charlie.
No, thank you. I could do this all day.
Okay. We might ask you to do that. Thank you, Charlie.